Welcome back to another episode of ROC Boys Football. We are doing our first game preview of the 2022 college football season. As we take a look at Nebraska, Northwestern, in Dublin, Ireland, it just feels great to be talking college football, Dale.
I just can't wait. It's like the summer is so long. There's nothing to do after the draft. I'm just like, all right, let's get back to college football.
Yeah, I can't wait to just be breaking down these teams, breaking down games. It's going to be a blast. Guys, if you guys do like the content, you like talking college football, consider subscribing to the channel. We appreciate it. Dill, let's get into it. I want to ask you a question. Are you nervous about – so I think we can both agree Nebraska's the better team. They're the more talented team.
Yeah.
They looked better last year. You look at what Northwestern did last year, just completely uncompetitive in the last 6 games of the season. Are you nervous that Nebraska just plays sloppy like they did last year as they go across the pond to Ireland?
No, I almost think the 3-8 looks really bad, but it does wake the team up to like, all right, they're not 3-8, they're not even close. They're probably like 8-4 realistically if they cut down on about half of the mistakes they made, and that's everything. Special teams.
Special teams legit cost them like 4 games last year.
Exactly. So my thinking is like, do you worry about Nebraska playing sloppy? Like I kind of don't, because I would imagine it was a very focused off season. Just like, all right, guys, if we don't play sloppy, like we're a really good team. If we just don't do what we did last year. So I actually think that they're going to be a very clean football team this year. And I don't know. That could just be me like wanting to see it out of Nebraska and just see what they can be. But I just kind of think they're going to run a cleaner program.
Talk about motivation. Like, Nebraska's going to want to come out this year and just bury Northwestern. And I think they can. Now, I want to talk about the offense first, because when you're asking them to cover, 12 and a half points, you got to be able to score points. Mark Whipple comes in as the OC. He'll be calling the plays. I think that's one of the better hires that we've seen in the offseason. You talk a lot about the talent that's coming to Nebraska, which is there. Mark Whipple calling the plays with Casey Thompson, I think a slight upgrade from it, a pretty significant upgrade from Adrian Martinez. I think this Nebraska offense is going to look different, and I think they're going to be explosive.
That's kind of my thinking, is like they had Scott Frost call. He was just probably doing too much as like being the play caller, being the head coach. I think there's very few coaches outside of, with the exception of Ryan Day, who can really do it and coach an offense at a really high level. And frankly, I think you saw just general inconsistency with how Nebraska played on offense. Like sometimes it looked like it was really humming, and sometimes it got a little stagnant and slowed down. So I'm like really excited to see what this offense can do. And I get this game really isn't much of a litmus test. Like if they beat Northwestern, like everyone's like, yeah, that you should beat Northwestern. But I think if they can prove they have cut down the mistakes and they can really bury them, I think that's like a really good momentum gatherer for Nebraska, who started off on the horrible foot with Illinois last year, where they just looked terrible.
Yeah, and I think the story of this game, you look at the game last year, Nebraska Northwestern. I mean, they ran the ball all over Northwestern, and quite frankly, I don't see how that changes. They get all the running backs back. Jaquez Yant went for like 150 yards last year. Raheem Johnson should be healthy. Anthony Grant comes over as a JUCO transfer. I think they're going to run all the way over Northwestern. What I want to talk about a little bit is what on Northwestern, and this is kind of what I was thinking, is there's nothing on this Northwestern offense that scares me.
But that you could probably say that for the past 15 years. I don't know. Like they never have draft picks on the offensive side. And sometimes they just like find a way to be not terrible. Like they're never explosive, but sometimes they do find a way to not be like that bad.
And Northwestern historically has one great season, one bad season, one great season, one bad season. So they had a good season in the COVID year, horrible season last year. And then this year should, if the pattern sticks, should be a decent team this year. To be quite frank, I just don't see it. Ryan Helinski at quarterback, I don't see anything special. Didn't see anything special last year. And I don't know how they put up points on a Nebraska team that is really, really good on the front seven. Northwestern is going to need to run the ball well. And you're running right into 2 All-American level linebackers, some dogs up front on the defensive line, adding O'Shawn Mathis. I don't see how Northwestern really tests Nebraska on the offense side of the ball.
Yeah, I mean, frankly, without the like little one-on, one-off like pop they might get, I'm kind of with you. I just don't see it. They were
There's
so
not
bad
much.
this year.
There's not much to be optimistic about on this Northwestern team. Now, I think a lot of our listeners are tuned in to hear. Okay, so if Nebraska's going to win, are they going to be able to cover 12.5 points? It opened at 10, so the money's coming in on Nebraska. How do you feel about Nebraska covering 2 touchdowns?
I fully expect a 2-touchdown cover. I almost think the line should be closer to 21 because that's like kind of how bad I think Northwestern might be. Where I think Nebraska's a team that's going to want to start hot, and if they get up on them, they're going to try to score 55 points.
Yeah.
And frankly, if you're like able to run the ball at a decent level, Northwestern couldn't stop any of the teams that did that. So I do think they're going to have a good enough run game to just bury them, and I just don't see Northwestern scoring enough points. So I think this line is, even though it's moving towards Northwestern, I guess, or towards Nebraska, I still think it's like awfully low.
So we have potentially our first lock of the college football season here.
I mean, I just don't see. I will say the one caveat that could be if Northwestern was playing at home. That's like a true advantage for them because it's an absolute snoozer of an environment. Usually they're playing kind of early in the day, like 12. I think sometimes they play 11 a.m. Northwestern time or Central time, whatever it is. But like that's a really boring environment. And sometimes teams just kind of roll in there and get trapped because like they're sleepwalking or whatever.
Is it going to be bumping in Dublin? Is it going to be bumping in Dublin, you think?
I got to think it's going to be rocking. It's like those
I
fans
think so
are
too.
for the American football. And Nebraska might just fly out 50,000 fans themselves. Those like absolute wild supporters to that program. So
borderline the best fans in the country.
Exactly. So like they're going to be there. They're going to be wild. The Irish fans, they'd be nuts anyway. If you ever
they'll
watch,
be hammering. So there'll be a lot of Guinness at the pregame. Yeah, they'll be ready to rock.
Fans are crazy or nuts. So it's like I expect it to be going wild, and I think that's better for Nebraska. Frankly, I think the only way they could get snuck up on is if they were going onto the grass field, favoring the slower Northwestern team, and that's kind of my thinking. Is like it's actually way better to be in Dublin than it is to be at Ryan Field in Evanston.
Yeah, I think I agree with this. When you look at the team, it's just Nebraska's a better team on offense or the better team on defense. Special teams, maybe not, but I just can't imagine the special teams doesn't get at least a little bit fixed from last year. And I just don't see, the ball's in Nebraska's court. If Nebraska plays to their capability or even like 80% of their capability, they should be winning by 2 touchdowns. They're clearly the better team, they're the more talented team, and that's what matters the most at college football.
The only thing that could stop them is if it rains. And I know it can be a little rainy in Europe or at least a little rainy in Ireland.
Weatherman Dill coming in here.
I mean, I don't know the stats, but I feel like it's a stereotype at least that it rains a lot in Ireland and in Europe or England and whatnot. So
I don't think it matters. They'll just run the ball at Northwestern.
I know, but then I don't know. Rain always favors the team that's catching points. Like
when you're getting into these stipulations, I think we know Nebraska's is the better team.
Right,
I would feel very comfortable laying.
I'd be comfortable with it in the rain, sure, but I do think the rain it just lowers the point totals in general. So it's like if you're gonna score 35 and then you score 24, like you get less room for error.
Galaxy Brain Dill talking you off to Nebraska.
Dude, it's just math. You should try to maybe think a little yourself, but whatever.
No, I do ball.
Anyway, it's like Nebraska's gonna pound them. I think we all know that, and I just can't wait for the game. I love that they're doing it in Dublin. It adds something to it that's just like a little extra juice. So I'm pumped.
All right, that'll do it for an episode of ROC Boys Football. Again, guys, if you guys do like the content, you like talking ball, consider subscribing to the channel. We appreciate you guys checking us out, and we'll talk to y'all later.